Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josey. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of Badassery herself, the real Jen Josey. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josey, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's Badassery Bestowment, a little badass gift to you. Today's topic is time management hacks for the busy investor. If your to-do list is longer than your rehab timeline and you're juggling contractors, closing tenants, and a life, you don't need more hours, you need better moves. Time management isn't about being busy, it's about being intentional so your deals don't run you, you run your deals. Here are 5 time management hacks to keep you productive without burning out. Number 1. Start your day with the one thing that makes you money. Before you touch email, social media, or those quick little tasks, ask, what's the highest dollar activity I can do today? Whether it's offers, follow-ups, underwriting, raising capital, do that first. Busy feels good, but paid feels much better. Number 2, batch like a badass. Stop bouncing between texts, DMs, spreadsheets, and contractor calls all day. Pick blocks of time. 1 block for calls, 1 block for admin, 1 for property tasks. Switching tasks is like switching tools mid-reno, messy, slow, and expensive. Number 3, use a 2-minute rule to kill the tiny stuff. And this one's for my husband. If it takes under 2 minutes, reply, schedule, approve, delegate. Do it immediately. Those little I'll do it later tasks file up and become mental clutter that steals your focus. Number 4, create a weekly meeting with yourself. Once a week, you sit down and run your business like a boss. Review leads, project timelines, cash flow, and next actions. If you don't schedule your time to steer the ship, you'll spend the week putting out fires. And number 5, delegate the $10 tasks so you can do the $1,000 tasks. If you're doing everything, you're not investing, you're surviving. Hand off scheduling, data entry, vendor follow-ups, and repetitive admin. Your job is decisions, relationships, and deal flow. So, Rain Nation, here's the truth. Time management is a wealth strategy. The more you protect your time, the more you protect your profit and your peace. Pick one of these hacks and put it to work today, because the goal isn't to be the busiest investor in town, it's to be the one with the most freedom. Be that badass. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. Today's guest is Andres Bernal, a Dominican-born real estate investor, entrepreneur, and founder of Sky Circle Homes. Andres is also a former professional tennis player who came to the United States with just $500 and turned that grit into an 8-figure real estate portfolio built from the ground up. After buying his first property in 2016, he didn't just get started, he built momentum and then he scaled. Andres has since completed 50-plus property flips, owns 60 rental units across Section 8 housing, student rentals, and traditional tenants, and has grown a $12 million real estate portfolio with a net of over $5 million. Whether you're trying to confidently buy your first deal, avoid expensive rookie mistakes, or build predictable income with real numbers, you're going to get a ton of value from this conversation, especially if you're an immigrant, entrepreneur, or first-time investor who's ready to take control of your financial future. It's my pleasure to have him on the show. So, welcome, Andres Bernal.
Wow.
Um,
What an introduction. I don't think I deserve that. I'm just kidding.
how many times did I say the word tasks? That's a tough word to say without like
It is
spitting all
tough.
over yourself.
Yeah, I don't even want to try it. So
Well, I am thrilled to have you on, and we were chatting before, and I immediately knew this is going to be a really fun episode. So let's go back to the beginning. You came here with $500. So what did those first few years look like to you?
I think looking back, I'm like I'm just crazy. But yeah, so I graduated from college and I have 3 degrees and my dad was waiting for me saying, "Hey, come back to DR and work in my business and you are the king of the throne here and you're gonna do this and that." And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And it was
What's the business?
it's he still have it. He sells Xerox in the Xerox machines, like the printing machine in the R. He's one of the like authorized dealers, but also he has contracts with the government and private companies, where he supplies the machines and all that. But I knew it was not gonna be my business, and I know how my dad is my best friend, but I knew it was gonna be really really tough for him to let the keys to me. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I came here. My mom secretly gave me $500, and I'm like, I'm just gonna figure it out. I was young, probably stupid, and I'm like, let me just see what happens. And yeah, it was those 3 days before everything happened, the miracle happened, were really tough.
Where did
But
you
yeah,
land?
I landed in New York. I landed in New York. I went to what like like everybody goes to Times Square, from the airport to Times Square with 2 suitcases, my tennis bag, and I'm like, I'm just gonna find a way here. But it was definitely tougher than obviously I thought it was gonna be. So so yeah, on the third day, I had like $112, I think it was, or 120, it was something like that. And I'm like, I cannot survive one more day. This is like I have to make it. And then I obviously I make my diligence. I made a lot of calls, and on the third day, I got a call. There's work, and there was a tennis position that opened up, and yeah, it was the rest is, I will say, history.
Well, I love that you mentioned that about your dad and his business because I was telling you before we hit record that I'm a coach for a coaching program, and people, their why, like I would say 80% of them say, I want to leave a legacy to my kids. And it gives me a little cringiness because, did your kids ask for that business? And what we have been seeing lately in the world or here in the States is we have these boomers who are starting to, pass away, and they're leaving these businesses to their kids. And the kids are like, I watched you unclogging toilets growing up. I don't want that business, so I do find it interesting. And I'm just, reinforcing how that was a great move on your behalf to do what you wanted and not feel like you had to continue that legacy. Cause I feel like there would also be some pressure for the kids there. So I want to talk real quickly about tennis because you're a professional tennis player or yes. And so
I
I'm
so
curious.
I played professional tennis, and then I taught tennis for a lot of years. So I did both.
Gotcha. So what did that teach you? Because I grew up playing basketball and I know there's a lot of, and I'm a former musician. And so
Oh.
there's a lot of correlations there. But what did um, being in tennis teach you how to run your business with real estate?
So in tennis, the difference between tennis and real estate is that in tennis, you have a lot of chances to redeem yourself. So in tennis, you miss a ball, you have another chance. You miss another ball, you have another chance. And even if you lose like the first set, you still can come back for the second set. In real estate, it, it is forgiving a little bit, but at the same time, it's not, because one bad deal can get you out of business. And in December, I actually lost 107,000 in one deal, which we can talk about. But one deal can get you out of business. But the one thing for sure is like in tennis, you miss the back end and then you learn and you try to make it better. And real estate is the same. Even if you go through your first eviction, even if you did a renovation that it didn't go well, you never like lose. And that's the price of education. It's just a high price that you pay, but it's totally worth it. That's for me the best education, the actual one, the one that you go through the trenches and learn. Obviously, if I can stop somebody to make a big mistake, and that's what the coaching is, what you do is great, then I try to stop and I try to help, but people will do whatever they want. So at the end of the day, you can coach as much as people are going to do whatever they want. So
Well, being a coach for sports, you see the value of how it will just propel you so much quicker. Do you feel the same as getting a coach in real estate?
100%.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody should enter real estate without a coach.
Very good. I
I
agree.
don't think so. Whether it's a mentor that maybe you can partner with in a deal, maybe you can bring the deal, maybe whatever, or is it like a formal coach that actually is doing what you want to accomplish? Because I have to say that most of the thing with coaching is most of coaching works. It's just it might not work at the moment, but eventually will work. And when I say that is, I had a real estate coach. I paid a lot of money for it. And that person taught me about marketing. At that moment, I didn't have no deals. That marketing that she taught me wasn't valuable at the moment because it it was not applicable for that time in my life. But now looking back, that I'm starting to do marketing now. Okay, that's a lesson that I can apply what she taught me 10 years ago. So yeah, I think everybody needs a coach. I mean, it will be or a coach, a mentor, or a really good partner, I would say.
Yes, very well said. So, your first deal was back in 2016. So, how did that happen? How did that fall into your lap?
So my first investment deal was a 3 unit. It's located
Nice.
in West Haven, Connecticut, which 10 years ago, West Haven was not hot. It was, everybody called it a dump. But I saw the area and then I saw a few things that people were not looking at. And if you want, we can talk about that. But that 3 unit, first floor was $1,000, second floor was $1,000, and then I was gonna live on the third floor. And that was I took an FHA loan. I needed $15,000 to close on the deal, and I didn't have 15,000. So my aunt, which is my friend, lent me some money, which it's allowed that a family member gives you for the down payment. So she gave me 10 grand. I put the rest, and it was very interesting to live with your tenants. Second floor tenants smoke so much. I
Oof.
mean, yeah, if you
Did
like
they at
smoke,
least
that's
smoke?
fine.
Did they smoke the good stuff or cigarettes?
The good stuff, like the really good stuff. Because I was smoking in my apartment.
The whole time.
Oh, I was high the whole time. Yeah, for sure. And then the funny thing is that after that second floor tenant left, I got a tenant that it was even worse. Not with the smoking, but I had to almost go through evictions, and it was a story that it was actually my second tenant. It was such a learning curve that tenant taught me the reality of the reality of the world that we're living. And it's not that I'm mean. I'm actually very kind with my tenants now, but like that tenant taught me all the lessons that I needed to know at the time and more. So
Well, what you did, we call house hacking, which is actually a great entry point for a lot of people, young folks who can go and buy a triplex, duplex, quad, or whatever. So it's, still considered, it's not considered commercial. So, you're still going to be doing comps and stuff to determine the after repair value and things. But it's such a great way for an entry point to get that firsthand experience. I probably would have not told them I was the owner. I would have said, "Oh yes, that landlord, God, what a jerk, or whatever. So, but, lessons learned there. So for the listeners who, you said your aunt gave some money there, but for the listeners who don't have money, there's so many other avenues now for them to get started in real estate. Can you share some of those for someone who is struggling, who maybe doesn't have a lot of money to put into real estate right now?
Yeah. So with an FHA loan, you can have a family member give you the down payment. So that's huge. The other avenue that you can do is you can ask a family member if they can give you a small loan. You can put that money into your account and let it season, let it be there for a few months, and then you can buy real estate. You can definitely do that. I've done it. The other way that I highly recommend is try to get creative. I have done deals with no money down where I put my time, like I found a deal, I manage the deal, and then in exchange, my partners come with the money, and then we make a partnership. There's many ways to buy real estate with no money. It's just it's just like people don't want to be creative because it's hard. That's the truth.
That is the truth,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But
And
when
then,
you pay,
or they're uneducated. Like if you're
or
trying to work with the
uneducated,
seller, they're like, hey, have you ever thought about seller financing? Oh no, but they just don't understand it.
they don't
So yeah,
understand. Yeah,
but
a
it's
really
tough.
good tip if people want to go to the owner financing route, whenever you're talking to the owner, try to make it super simple. Do not talk about amortization or internal rate of return or none of that. Try to go, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars every single month, and I'm going to pay you for 20 years or 10 years. In addition, I'm going to give you a down payment of $40,000. So you're going to get your check, whether it's in your account or by check in the mail, and I'm going to buy your property. I'm going to be the owner of the property. Just try to make it simple. And this is, again, this is me talking now, but I try to sound smart, especially that immigrant mindset, like, oh, these Americans are not going to lend me any, they're not going to do an owner financing to an immigrant that had a visa or whatever. Like, no. Like, if you can present it and they can know, like you, and trust you, the opportunities here are infinite. It's infinite.
So what were some of the challenges you had as an immigrant to this country?
Oh my God. Or still have. I mean, yeah.
Are you a
So
citizen now, or are you
I'm a
still?
citizen. Yeah. So I'm the, so I've been through all the visas that you can imagine. So first and foremost, I was a student in Puerto Rico, which is part of considered part of the US. So I had a student visa. Then I had the professional tennis athlete visa. Then I had the professional coach green card. They granted me a green card. And then I became a citizen. So we're talking about from 2007 to 2020, 2021.
Wow.
I've been through all that process. I'll, tens of thousands of dollars in lawyers. I became a citizen. And it's, I think one of the challenges right now is the fact that no, like, it's hard to trust an immigrant unless you do, because there's so many, I don't want to get political, but there's so many, things
Stereotypes.
right and left. And like, I am an immigrant that right now, I'm not, put it this way, I'm not living the American dream. Like, I'm living my dream in America. I'm not living the American dream. I'm
Gotcha.
trying to live my dream in America and be a good citizen and pay my taxes and help others and donate and do the things that I really feel and the things that are the right things to do. And once you contribute, there's a lot of immigrants that I know that are doing the right things. And there's a lot of immigrants that are not doing the right thing. So right now, my challenge is that obviously I have an accent. So that's the first thing that people think and start thinking, like, where's he from? But they're not actually listening to what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to, and I just accept that this is who I am. That's what makes me unique. And I don't think about it. I don't think about it. I just go in my lane. I don't compare to anybody. and I just move on as good as strong as I can. Just yeah.
Well, from someone born here in the US, my apologies for my people if they ever are doing those stereotypical things. And we are grateful you are here doing your thing and educating people on shows like this. So thank you for being you, Andre. Seriously.
I appreciate it. I think
Yes.
this is the first time that they asked me that in the podcast, so I have to acknowledge you. Because yeah, people just care about real estate, but like I believe that anybody can use the pain that I had seeing my dad working so much and actually work with that pain to evolve and to change and to be a better person. So all that rage that you have for immigrants or for Americans or for Europeans, for whoever, try to use that pain to actually use that energy to actually be better you and be better as a family member, as a friend, as your business person. Like use that pain that you have for your own benefit. And we can solve all the problems in this world. I can guarantee
All
you
of
that.
them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, thank you and sorry for any mistreating from my folk.
Okay.
We do have plenty of idiots. So yes, we do. All right. So let's go into this moolah here. So people hear, oh, you have a $12 million portfolio and it's so out of reach for them. So it wasn't a straight line to that portfolio. So were there any messy parts in the middle that you want to share?
Oh, for sure.
Just a few.
A lot of castor keys. So if people don't know, is when you make an agreement with the tenant that they're gonna move out, and then you're gonna give them some cash so they can move out instead of going through the legal eviction process. So a few of those, a few nights that I didn't sleep thinking about my house is gonna fall down because I didn't trust the contractor. Yeah. um, and a lot of my time and not partying on the weekends and educating myself at 9 time after working 60 hours a week. It I can totally Jen, like it's not I'm not the smartest person. I know. Like the thing is that I am so self-aware that I know I'm not the smartest person. I define intelligence by the speed that you learn things. So I'm very intelligent because I learn the things quickly. I'm not smart, I am not school smart. In fact, I graduated with like 3 point barely, whatever. And I think that I just refuse that I do in my house and in my head, there's only one way to work and it's hard. It's just like I've been through the worst. So right now, I know what I have to do. It's all about doing more of what I'm doing. There's nothing special, right? So if people are listening and people are saying, oh, I cannot find good deals, the market is really hot. The first question that you should ask yourself is, how many offers are you putting? It's not about not looking at the MLS, is putting more offers on the MLS. It's not about spending more money in marketing, is nurturing those relationships with the marketing that you're doing. It's just about doing more. And I flip 25 to 30 houses every single year with $0 in marketing. No, nothing. How? It's all relationships and it's just more. I put 20 to 25 offers every single week.
It's huge.
It's a lot of work,
Yes.
but that's the way it is.
I mean, I wish some students were listening right now because I tell them, listen, I want you to get 25 no's. I don't want you to like focus on getting that deal. I want just get 25 no's. You got to start flexing that muscle. So I'm so glad that you said that. I want to kind of shift towards Section 8 properties here because you do student housing, you do just traditional rentals, but you also do Section 8 properties. This is also up in Connecticut where you are?
Yes.
Okay. So are there, again, going back to trying not to get political here, but hard these days.
Political, whatever.
But Section 8, because I hear all the time, oh, I'm going to do Section 8 because it's guaranteed money. So tell us a little bit about that. What are some like misinformation that people have about Section 8 and why do you like it?
Yeah, the only guarantee, there's two guarantees in life, and it's that you're gonna die and that you're gonna pay taxes, no matter what, right? So the Section 8 checks are not guaranteed because if every year they do inspections, and if you fail to an inspection, they will hold your check. So it's actually not guaranteed. It is guaranteed if your tenant, if you have it rented and you pass the inspections and there's no violations, then it's guaranteed. I personally don't like or hate Section 8. I have I have a few tenants that are really, really good Section 8. The problem with Section 8 is we understand that the level of education is low. Therefore, they're gonna treat your properties bad.
Right.
And half of the time, in my experience, it's true. But there's another half that they just want a safe and clean place. They don't want trouble. Whether they're paying $100 a month or they're paying $500, they don't want it. They don't want trouble. They just want to be in their lane and they just want a safe place to live. I think one of the things that I live in Connecticut, I don't know where you are, but one of the things that I like about Section 8 is that every year you will have your rent will go up, typically $50 to $100. So that's really good.
That's good.
Right. Sometimes you renew with a regular tenant and they don't want you to increase the rent. So Section 8, you will always go up, and they're really good at going to market value, at least in Connecticut. So in my experience, so I will say, yeah, Section 8, it's again, it's not guaranteed, but if you play fair and if you play the game, then it's good. Now, one of the things that it's tough is that every year they're trying to tweak a little bit the way that they do Section 8. So now you need, for example, you need that 10-year sealed battery in the apartments. You cannot just put the regular. It has to be 10-year sealed, and it's just a little bit more expensive. So for me, it doesn't matter, but I know that the landlord is, live rent by rent instead of paycheck to paycheck. It's tough. So, they're changing the rules, and then you have to get accustomed to them.
So can you break down the Section 8 process? Like if somebody is, buying properties that they're burring and then they want to put a Section 8 tenant in there. How do they know if they can even do Section 8 there? Who do they reach out to? What other I know you have inspections. For Section 8, is there constantly, like, if one person moves out, they have a waiting list of people to move in? Is it like quicker to, okay, so how would one go about making their freshly burred property into a Section 8?
So there's mainly two ways. Either you advertise for Section 8 and most of the time the tenants will tell you they have vouchers, which is basically a check.
Right.
And with a certain amount, depending on the area and the bedrooms count. And then the other way is going to there's a lot of third parties, Section 8 agencies, where you contact them and they have a long list. Most of the time they have a wait list of tenants. So you would never, at least in Connecticut, you would never have a problems rented to Section 8.
Good. Very good.
And I'll give you a little hack before we even move on. But some Section 8s will give you the difference in bedrooms are astronomical. So let me explain. In West Haven, Connecticut, I have a Section 8. They paid $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom. 3 blocks away, I have a 3-bedroom that is paying $1,850 for a 3-bedroom. So if you can get creative and you can create more bedrooms and they approve those bedrooms, I've seen Section 8 homes where 5 bedrooms, they pay $3,000. The rent, the rent to like a regular family is going to be like $2,500.
Right.
So if you can create more bedrooms, you can make more money.
Excellent hack. Thank you,
Yes.
Andres, for that one. I love that. So you do Section 8, you do traditional, and then you also do student housing.
I
So
love them.
let's talk a little about student housing. In my brain, it's like they will, August, September is like trying to get renters in there, and then you have your renters. Maybe you rent by rooms, but then they leave for the summer. They go home for the summer. You can go in and do renovations. That's kind of my impression of what it would be like renting to students. So
Yeah,
am
yeah.
I right? Tell me a little bit about the student housing.
That's where the way that you're thinking, that was the way that I was thinking. You're not far.
Okay.
But for example, student rentals it's very cyclical. What I mean by that is the tenants that are gonna move in the fall, I already need to know in January because most of the colleges have a deadline for the student dorms
Ah,
by March. So that by March, they need to know where they're gonna go for next semester. The other misconception is you can do a 12-month lease. Most of the time, even though they're not there in the summer, they will still pay and the parents co-sign. So you don't need to have any gaps. Now, one of the things that I do is I do 11th month lease. And that month, I do all my repairs that has to be done. I do all my maintenance that has to be done. And I say if a student wants to stay in the house during that month that we're doing renovations, that's totally fine. They have to pay obviously their rent, their portion of the rent. But that month, I do everything that can cause a problem. And then all year round, I don't have any maintenance issues. So
gotcha.
yeah, I'm not collecting that month, but I'm also not spending more during the year. I'm just sending my guys 1 or 2 days or a week or whatever it is to do the necessary repairs.
Huge. And if you need to put a roof, you do it then and be done
Yes.
with it so that it's deferred maintenance for that. So do you rent by room with student housing?
No,
Oh.
you don't do that.
So
Big
what if you
mistake.
have like four roommates? Are all their parents co-signing on the lease?
Yes, but I don't choose that. I don't choose the students. They choose themselves. They
Oh,
they
yeah.
choose each other.
Right.
Themselves now, sorry, each other. So it's like one person goes and they all choose because again, this is all mistakes that I made. When I rented by room, big mistakes because they don't get a loan. I try to help them to find students, big mistakes because they don't get a loan. But once they find each other and they want to live together, less drama, 100%.
Very, very smart. So, but if there's four students living there, four roommates, do you have 8 people signing the lease, like the student and a parent to
I have
co-sign?
one lease for
One lease.
everybody. Yes.
Okay, so they're
One
all signing
lease.
that one lease.
Yeah. So I have the 4 students and then I have the 4 co-signers.
And then if they get in a fight and one moves out, who's responsible for that?
Them. I don't
Perfect.
get involved.
Nice.
It's to be honest, it's the best business. It's again the bad part about Section 8 is very seasonal. If you miss the dates, you might be in trouble. So for example, if you try to rent in the summer, you might find some students, maybe like freshmen and all that, but you have to be early. The other thing with student rentals is student rentals are very similar to Airbnb as far as regulations. So if the university changes the regulations, like it happened to me in one of the big universities here, then you have to kind of pivot to like either sell the home or do an Airbnb. So one of the drawbacks for student rentals is that if the university decides that all the students that are coming needs to live in the dorm for 2-3 years,
Right.
and they move out, then you have a big trouble. Why? Because then you will have a lot of vacancy, and then you might think, yeah, but you can still have the grad students, you can still have the 3rd and 4th year students. Well, people that like their housing, students that like their housing, will stay there until they graduate.
Ah,
So it's another layer of complexity. The 3rd or 4th year might not be looking for another housing because they're staying. But one thing is for sure is that in most market, there's a there's a big demand for student houses because the colleges cannot keep all their kids in their school. So
Yep.
they're kind of like, find your own place.
Well, I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, and there are 6 universities like within spitting distance from me. And I always considered it, but there is like one property management company that does a lot of them. And I'm like, I don't even want to deal with that. But then I was looking a little further out. There's like Elon College, a nice private college, hour and a half down the road. And the university actually is looking for people, just like you're saying, to buy properties for students to rent, and they will promote it at the university too. No?
Yeah, universities typically don't promote you.
Okay.
You got to find those Facebook groups. So
Gotcha.
let's say, let's do a quick exercise. Let's say that you want to invest in student rentals. My first advice is try to always be 10 minutes walk from the university. That way, students don't need a car, they can
Right.
walk. Students feel safer because it's only 10 minutes walking. And you eliminate that. If you don't have parking, you eliminate that problem. So that's one. The second thing that I will do is, what is the demand? So the demand is how many students at the university is increasing or decreasing every single year. So for example, I know that, so I have a student rentals in 3 universities. I have a University of New Haven, Quinnipiac University, and Yale.
Wow.
So right, so you might think, oh, Yale is better because they're more prestigious, but it's not. But anyways, so then you have to know by the data which university is actually increasing. I found out the University of New Haven is increasing by 500, a small school is increasing by 500 to 1,000 students every year.
Wow.
And they have the #1 program for forensic science in the US. I'm like, wait, now I have competition, but when I started in 2019, nobody. Now people are noticing, and people are like, oh, wait, instead of renting to my single family, instead of renting to a family for $2,500, I can add a bedroom and charge $3,500,
Yep.
and they
So
pay all
smart.
utilities. What? And then people are realizing that. So, yeah.
I love that. These are great nuggets, Andres. I appreciate that. So you started with rental properties, and then you got into flipping, and now you do how many flips a year are you doing now?
We started formally 2024. We did 21. Then last year we did, I think it was more than 25, and then we carry 3 to this year. So between 25 and 30. And then previous to that, I did like 1 or 2, So right now, average, I will say 25 a year.
Wow. Well, a lot of people, because I interview people all day long, it feels like, but they're leaving the flipping because houses are sitting longer, and they're now transitioning into buying more rentals, doing the BRRRR strategy. So you're kind of doing the flip flop of that. So how has flipping more properties now, how has that really helped your business?
Well, definitely, we have more cash to buy rentals, which is our goal.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
also, it's a lot of more time consuming. It's definitely drastically more time consuming flipping a house and having like a standard rental. There's a lot of things that can go wrong on flipping, but I think that it's a great business because it allows you to be very liquid. And when you are very liquid, you have a lot of options. You can
Yes.
invest in other businesses. You can invest in yourself, more education. There's many things that you can do, but definitely flipping is harder than what it used to be, just because one, there's no inventory where I am, Connecticut. I mean, there's very little compared to the rest of the country. Connecticut's a very still hot market.
It
It's
is.
yes, it's very hot. Just because the main reason behind it is because people don't build houses here. I mean, they do, but not compared to like Florida.
Right.
In Florida, what's happened is the opposite. There's so many
There's an
properties for
excess.
sale,
Yep.
but in Texas, people are not building because permits are, impossible. And, weather, there's a lot of factors, but and I have a lot of competition, and I can feel it because when I talk to a homeowner or an agent, they already have 5 flippers or 5 homeowners or 10 homeowners that they're trying to buy a house. And if I'm being honest, my competition is not the flippers. My competition is the homeowners that watches YouTube. They think they can flip the house. Oh, HGTV.
Like
That's my
me,
competition.
like me painting the condo.
Yeah.
Exactly. And let me tell you, so for the listeners, I am knee deep in painting my own Airbnb right now because we have our money elsewhere. So I'm just trying to save a little cash here. I'm not as liquid as you because we have, like I said, we have slowed down with the flips. That was our focus in our beginning of our business, and so now we're doing rentals and. But anyway, yes, the people we bought it from, they were DIY, like, what were you thinking? And we're pulling vanities out. I'm like, what did you do here? So it's wild. So that is funny that is your competition. So
Wow.
do you have any like specific buy box that you like? Are you laser focused on that? Are you getting off market deals? Tell me a little bit of your process of how you find properties and what you look for.
Majority of the properties, I will say out of 100%, half of them are in the MLS,
Okay.
30% are wholesalers, and 20% are relationships. Just agents that are gonna list it and they decide to call me and see if I'm interested, and I'm like, yes. My buy box has definitely changed, and it's because of obviously pain. So my buy box in 2024 didn't exist. I will flip anything that had a roof and sometimes not a roof. But right now we are laser focused on entry-level homes.
Okay.
So I have flipped luxurious homes. I have flipped condos. We have flipped everything, underground houses with underground oil tanks, and we have flipped every single house that you can think of, any price point as well. Maybe no more than 2 millions. But one thing that I've learned is there is more profit and more predictable flipping in entry-level homes that are less than 450,000.
Yes.
I know, and so we're laser focused on that 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 1,200 square feet. That it's just cosmetic. There's no wells, there's no septics, there's no underground oil tanks. The water table is not high. Things are very predictable. We might flip less houses this year, but because we're being more conservative with our numbers, but also we're targeting good profits and predictable profits. We're not looking to flip more houses, in other words. We're not looking to flip luxurious homes, just so I can show you on Instagram. We're looking to flip 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 1,500 square feet that just needs cosmetic, that we're going to be in and out in 1 month.
All right.
So if a house that is ARV 700,000 and it's, we get it for 300,000, it doesn't need much, of course we're going to do it. But we're focusing on the entry-level home. Why? Because they're still very competitive and there's more exit strategies. So last year, our best deals were hotel. What people don't know what a hotel is basically you buy a house, buy a flip, you clean it up a little bit, and then you list it on the market.
Yep.
You don't do the whole renovation process. And last year we did $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 on deals that we just spent maybe like $2,000 cleaning it up. And we are like, why the hell we're gonna flip this $1 million house where the buyers are really picky, the houses are really big, and it
That's
takes
literally
time.
that's what I wrote down. Where the buyers for those higher price points are paying in the.
I have so many stories.
Yes.
I might write another book, but there's so many, so picky, picky, big, and especially in this higher interest environment.
Right.
And this is a test that I did a couple years ago when I started flipping. The rates were 3.5. I can sell anything with a hole in the wall, and I can sell it at a very big price. Now, when rates are 6-7%, that people are feeling what the mortgage payment is going to be, they think about it 3 and 4 times.
Right.
So now you have to be more intentional about the houses that you flip and what kind of, like, this is what I found in my research and in my experience. When I list a house that is less than 450,000, I get at least 4 or 5 offers in
Right.
this market. At least. When I flip a house that is above that, it's just crickets. And then it's
Yep.
like 1 offer, 8 showings, 1 offer, which is the normal. This is the normal cycle. But my holding costs are one of the cash flow killers here, the profit killer. So I try to be in and out quick, do the things the right way, have a safe and clean house, and as renovated as I can do, and then just sell it and then just move on, instead of just trying to flip and find out if the people like the expensive blue veiny quartz countertop. Like, it's just like, yeah, the return on my time on expensive houses is very low, just because you have to do more research.
Oh my goodness. You are preaching to the choir over here, because that house that's sitting on the market, it is in the higher price point that it's probably the highest price point that we have done thus far. It's a new build. And, we have people saying, okay, we want to do this. I'm like, it is not a custom home. It is a spec home. You do what you want with it. But these buyers are nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I may need to get back where you are, because that is and cosmetic only. Oh gosh, that
Yeah.
sounds like a dream.
Yeah, and it's boring. And the thing is, like, when you have whip houses, you start flipping these small homes, then you want to go to something bigger, more challenging.
Right.
But the true profit in flipping houses is just doing the boring thing
Yep.
over and over. It's just
Yes.
when I track every year, we track it, every single property that we flip, and I can tell you confidently, I make more money on a $350,000 property that was very boring to flip, because it's very predictable. You know what kind of finishes you're gonna put, and it's just less risky too, because your holding costs are less. So I love those $400,000 properties in this market.
Well said. I used to focus on condos and townhomes because the exterior is covered by the HOA. So I loved getting in. I could flip those bad boys in 5 days. So
Yeah.
I need to start getting back into this. You have
Yes.
me, Andres. I appreciate that very much. Yes. So before we go to the second part of the podcast here, you said, and I don't mean to end on a rant, but you said you lost, what was $107,000 on a deal?
Yeah,
Was that a flip?
it's a flip. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. So because there are plenty of people out there struggling right now. So this
Yeah.
is, comforting to hear that even people like you go through things like this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm very vocal on my social media about this. So I lost 107,000 because I made obviously a lot of mistakes. But basically, we bought a house on auction for 290,000. It was a live auction. The ARV here was 600,000. So what happens is the house was sitting next to a little creek. You didn't need any flood insurance, which is great. But then it had a barn as well, a 3-floor barn. So mistakes that I made, I should have knocked that barn out instead of me fixing it. I thought it was gonna be like a nice, cute Airbnb for whoever buy the main house, and it was not as attractive as people think. And it was great. I mean, I can show you pictures. It was like, man, it had water, electricity, everything. So I should have knocked it down. The other thing that people don't talk about is water tables. So basically, you have a foundation. If you're looking this, in the video, you have the foundation, but underneath that foundation, there is water. Now, the water table, high water table means that the water, how far or how close the water is from the foundation. In this house, the sump pump was running every minute and 15 seconds.
Oh my
Gushing
gosh.
water out. Not because there was water coming in, but because water was coming up from the ground.
Wow.
So that was a very expensive to mitigate, even though we couldn't mitigate that 100%. Then we have to install a drainage system in half an acre because the water table was so high that when it rained, the water was staying on the grass. I mean, that house is like the house from hell. But me and my partner, when we wrote the check to the actual loss to close the deal, we were laughing because we had a really good year last year, despite this loss. And when you're flipping houses, you don't see a loss like I lost in this deal. You got to see the whole year. It is a business. It is like having a coffee place. You had a really bad month where you lost money, but what about the other 11? So,
Right.
and obviously we know that was a $600,000 house. We ended up selling at 525 after, firing my first realtor. Like it was like so many mistakes. Some of them were rookie mistakes that I should have known better. But most of them are things that people don't talk about. Like nobody talks about water tables.
Right.
Like nobody. When I talk about this mistake, people are like, "What?"
Wow.
You know.
I mean, you
So
talk about flood zones, but water tables, no.
yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Well, I love how you turn that around into a positive in that, yes, it's part of business and you didn't quit this business because you lost that. Some listeners might hear $100,000 loss, but, reflect on the entire year is such a very important message. And you mentioned social media before. So how do people follow you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm very active on Instagram and Facebook. So on Instagram is Andres, my name. Bernal is Berna and a one instead of an L.
Okay.
And on Facebook, you can find me as Andres Bernal. I am more than happy to connect with anybody. If you have any questions about this show, particularly this show, shoot me a DM. I'll respond everything. And I try to put raw content that actually helps people and create value for others. So I would love to connect if you're out there.
Well, I can't wait to start following you. I'm not that much into Instagram because I'm a couple decades older than you, I'm sure, but I do love the Facebook. So, and I am hilarious on Facebook if you want to follow me back. So,
Yeah,
we are
absolutely.
we are going to move to the second part of the podcast here, which is what makes Andres Bernal a badass, which clearly you are. And I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B for book. What is a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Oh my God. So,
Did I forget to tell you these
I
questions?
mean, I don't want to say the rich dad, poor dad, because I think everybody does. I think it's a book that definitely made an impact. The first book, I will say one of my favorite books is it's Tony Robbins book, The 7 Rules or Things for Wealth. And the reason why I'm butchering it, but I just made a post yesterday. But all the Tony Robbins books are really good. And what I love about that book is that got me started. Got me started thinking differently. So the favorite book is not actually what teaches you something, but it's actually what makes you change your behavior. If you're listening to this podcast and you don't change your behavior, you
Right.
don't change, then you didn't learn. That's what the definition of learning. So I will say, yeah, books are great, but that book that changed your life is definitely the best.
Good. Very good. I love me some Tony Robbins. All right. The first A in badass is for advice. You've given us excellent advice today. I am going to check out student housing as soon as we hang up. But what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I heard this from Alex Ramosi, and it says volume negates luck.
Ah,
And it's so true. And how can you apply this in your social media and your investing? It's basically just put more offers. You don't need to do anything different. In fact, if you don't put more offers, you will never win. That is what it's required to win. It's just put more offers.
excellent. Oh my goodness. Students, are you listening?
Yeah.
So important. All right. The D in badass is for drive. What drives you to be successful?
Pain. Not
Like
thankfully not
getting out of
like
pain. Yes.
yeah. I will say pain of not enjoying this life, not being present, working too much, and not caring about my family. I will say when I'm tired, I just think about them, and that's pain is just what drives me.
Right.
Pain of not be able to provide time and financial resource to my family.
Well said.
Yeah.
All right. The second A in badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So, what is a goal you are currently working on? Can be personal, can be business.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to business wise, we're trying to make $1 million net profit a year. Last year we almost made it, but obviously we had a setback. As far as personal, I will love to be in the best shape of my whole life. So that's one of my goals this year. Like no more excuses, no more like I don't have the time. So best weight, best everything. And also I just want to be like the best husband and father.
Oh,
They said that by them, not by others, not by myself. Like I already feel like I'm a really good dad, but I'm like, and I don't need I kind of need the validation. I'm not gonna lie. Like I need them to say like, you're the best papa, you're the best husband,
aw.
like truly. So that's my aspiration.
Yeah, I tell my husband all the time how lucky he is. So,
That's right.
all right. The first S in badass is for systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
My God, I have so many. In rentals, in flips, like what do you want to like?
Well, anything. I mean,
I have so many. It's
one of
hard to
my
think.
my favorite system is my morning routine because you're just talking
Okay.
about getting your body perfect and all this stuff. And if I can't get through my morning routine, I'm like shot for the day. So
Yeah.
that is one of my systems that I can't not do. So
Yeah. I definitely wake up really early. Like I wake up at 5 a.m. most of the time without an alarm.
right,
Even though it's hard now in the winter to get up, but I will say getting up early or put in the time after work. That's what I will say that this is again what it's required to be successful, especially if you have a regular job W-2. But if we're talking about like in the business, I will say try to do the things the right way and try to have a system that allows you to not be involved. In other words, if you don't have any properties, find try to buy some properties. But once you have a few, try to create systems where the business doesn't need you.
right,
So now with AI, I have a small team so I have almost 100 tenants, and I have a 3 people team that they take care of, I'll say 90% of everything.
nice,
Yeah. So,
huge. That is
yeah.
an excellent system.
Yeah.
Kind of in the badassery bestowment I gave is, those $10 tasks. Again, there's that word task that I had to say over and over. But those $10 tasks, pass those off to other people so you can do the $1,000 tasks because that's really what's going to make you the money. So, Andres, I could talk to you all day, but the final S in badass is for success. What does success mean to you?
So this is a very loaded question. Success means to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do, with whoever you want to do. It's not, I mean, I'm sorry that you're paintings.
I know.
You're right. You might not want to do that, but most of the time is choosing what you want to do. And
Yep.
it's not making that $10,000 passive income or $20,000. You can make that and you can be a slave of your work. You could not have any systems and you can be a slave. So yeah, if it's a period of time where you need to put that time into the business, that's fine. But I just wanna success is just spending time with whoever you want, whenever you want, and however you want, and not look at any price tags, I will say.
I love that. And by the way,
That's
I am painting while looking at the ocean. So it isn't horrible. I will say that. So this has been such a fun interview. And I just can tell you are so great at what you do.
thank
And,
you.
happy to have you here in the US. And again, sorry for any of these a-holes out there who, but what you are such an inspiration to
Thank you.
so many who maybe are immigrants coming here and, you lived your dream. I like how you said that instead of the American dream. And that just shows everything of why you are so successful at what you do and your drive. And so this has been great. One more time, how do the listeners find you?
Yeah, so first I will say Instagram. It's AndresBerna and a 1
One.
instead of an L. And Facebook is just my name. You can find, and I don't take this for granted, and I appreciate giving me the time to share my knowledge with people. What you're doing is great. Your podcast is great. I think everybody right now should leave at least a good review right now. At least, bare minimum.
At least subscribe already.
At least.
I'm working on this YouTube channel, and so for a long time I was fighting doing the videos. I'm like, fine, I'll do it. So yes, I appreciate that very much. And by the way, I didn't even get to say this, but you have a book out there which is so important to tell people. It is called Born to Retire Young. Let's see it. That's a pretty thick book you got there.
Yeah, it's actually it's like 150 pages.
Okay.
You can find it on Amazon. It's called Born to Retire Young. It gives you the framework to leave your 9 to 5 and retire in less than 10 years. My goal with this book was not giving you a lot of information, was giving you what you exactly need to retire. I'm talking about, obviously, I talk about real estate, but I talk about the shift of the mindsets that you have to evolve into it and the person that you have to become. So I talk a lot about this. It's just a mindset in a real estate book. It costs like $12. And my partner has a foundation in the Dominican Republic where he builds schools. So all the proceeds that I get like $7 for each book. I donate 100% of the proceeds. And thanks to give me the space and thanks to the 600 plus people that have bought it, I appreciate that so much because, again, you can do it. I'm only 36 years old. I can live wherever I want. I spend a lot of mornings with my son, which I really love. And this could be you. I didn't imagine that I could be here today. Never thought. All I knew as an immigrant is work until you were 80 years old.
Yeah.
Or until you die. So this is a $12 book. And publicly, if you don't like the book, I will give you $100. And this is something that I offer to anybody. So you read it and you don't like it, there's something that you didn't like, I will give you $100 through Venmo, Zelle, whatever you want. No question asked. That's my guarantee. And you can return your book, probably the book, and get your money back. So it's a win-win to read it. You can make $100, I guess.
Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so very much for being on the RAIN podcast. We do appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And that is all. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josey by visiting therealjenjosey.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.